filter them, who we are accepting, right?
Exactly. So they grew way beyond their capacity to control, and that's where the bad people came in. Because they wanted to know, what's this big secret that they have, and how can I become rich?
Exactly.
Well, they already were rich. They didn't need to be rich.
Yeah.
They already were rich. They didn't need more money, and they gave it all away. So they're actually very philanthropic in that respect. And the idea was that they wanted to be involved in this inner teaching that made them become better people. And this teaching was something that took 3 years of knowing. It involved a near-death experience at the very end, where you were buried in a cave or a box, and the people that came back, and it was very, very dangerous. It was an induced near-death experience. They actually had to drink a poison, and they left. And the idea was that you would go in and experience the other world while you're alive. And I'm not talking about shamanism. I'm talking about actually leaving the body and then coming back and being completely aware of where you've been, who you've talked to, and come back with specialist information. It's one of the oldest rituals in humanity, the most secret ritual in humanity.
So you can talk to dead people.
You actually cross into the other world and come back into your body and continue living. And that's what made it special, because you lose control, you lose your fear. Once you've been on the other side and you come back and say, there's nothing to be afraid of, death is nothing to be afraid of, there's actually much more interesting on the other side. I can now learn and apply what I've learned on the other side and make the world around me a better place. That's what they were doing. And I've traced this initiation going back to Japan in 8000 BC. That's the secret that they were maintaining. So 15 years to figure that one out.
Why should that be a secret? Why should that be a secret? Why not tell the world that this exists? Why not? I would want to, if I was processing something like that, I would want to share it with you. I would want to say, hey, Freddie, like, you know, there's a whole new world out there that you should not, all these fears that you have, just lose it. Like, it's not, like, why keep it a secret?
Oh, absolutely. But then again, if you don't know who I am and what my intent is, I could use that for very nefarious purposes.
Right.
You have to, the first year of being in the inner brotherhood was to gauge your level of credibility, your integrity, and if you are trusted with specialist information. Because if you can control the laws of nature, which is essentially what you're doing, you can come back and say, you know what, I think I'm going to actually control an entire country with this. And that's what the popes were trying to do as well, and that's what some of the kings of Europe were trying to do. They were trying to get into the order to find out, how can I use this to control the world? So if your integrity is not in the right place, this information is going to be used for wrong action, and you're going to make the world a worse place. So it's a fight between good and evil, essentially. So they had to gauge your level of integrity, and only then would you be taught the secret teachings. And they had, in one of their manifestos, if any of the elected brothers or sisters would share the secret information that they had learned in the underground caves that they did their initiations, they would be put to death, including the King of France, if need be. They were serious because they realized that you can do a lot of damage with this information. You have to use integrity and do it so that everybody benefits, and the world benefits, and becomes a better place. So in a way, they're actually incredibly spiritual people when you think about it.
Of course. Judging from the results we have, the good side lost, probably.
Yeah, they were fighting. I mean, the thing is, they knew that the numbers were against them. They had a finite moment where they could achieve their goal, and they did it for about 100 years in Europe. You had this Renaissance, you had the growing of the Gothic cathedrals, which of course is their way of bringing in the Arab world into Europe when you think about it. The Gothic arch, when you walk in through the building, that's an Arabic arch.
And what is it doing in Europe?
And what's it doing in the Catholic Church? So they completely put this inside the church without even realizing what they were doing. And they were able to actually create a sort of these hotspots of Renaissance, of incredible art and growth. And the humanities grew during their era. But again, the whole thing collapsed on itself because the order grew so fast, so quickly, that you had nefarious people attracted into the order who were doing some very naughty things with it. And they saw it coming, and they had inside information that the King of France was after them because he owed them a fortune in money.
King of France owed them?
Or he owed them a huge amount of money. That's why he manufactured these ridiculous charges to get rid of them. His friend was the Pope. So, of course, the Pope just wanted to find out why are they promoting John the Baptist and Mary Magdalene, who we don't want to talk about in the church. We want to talk about Jesus. So it was going to undermine the biggest lie in Europe, which is the rise of the Catholic Church, which has nothing to do with Christianity whatsoever. Nothing to do with the teachings of Jesus. That's Gnostic Christianity. It's a very different thing. So that's what they were after, but they had inside information, and by now they've created Portugal as a kingdom. They had a king on the throne who's one of their kind, and they're going around Europe, they're going around to the New World, discovering America, doing it very quietly, and they're hanging out with the Templars in Scotland. The two work together very nicely. So when the order went downhill, the Portuguese and the Scots were working together, and the moment when the Templars were made illegal, you had the Templars arriving in Scotland and declaring that the order completely disappeared. We go underground, change our name, and at that very moment, around 1315, I believe, you have something called Scottish Rite Freemasonry is born.
Wow.
On the spring equinox, on top of a sacred mountain in Scotland, which is the symbol of the risen initiate. So that's where Freemasonry kind of develops. It's an extension of the Knights Templar. But then that also changed in 1717 when the London Rite of Freemasons developed their own sort of boys' network. They have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, I never understood what's the deal with this like boy